Hi, I'm Kim, small business owner and marketer, and I'm here today with,
Kellie James, owner of Drench Cycle Studios.
and we're just here to have a little candid business conversation.
A little tea time.
Yeah. So, first, tell us all about your business or just three key points about it.
All right. Well, it is less than a year old, right? Drench officially opened in March 1st of 2024. Um, we have not been operational since the end of May, which I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit. And the third point is we are located in the heart of Midtown, the only spin studio in the heart of Midtown.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about the heart of Midtown first.
Okay.
So, out of all the spaces you could have put a spin studio, what made you choose Midtown?
So when I first came to this location, first of all, I had researched that there were at the time, no other spin studios in Midtown.
Okay.
So Vibe Ride had just recently closed, and another studio called Ruckus had recently closed. Therefore, there were no other spin studios. Anyone who's familiar with Midtown knows that Piedmont Park is really, really close to Midtown. It's within walking distance of Drench, as well as the Atlanta Beltline. And I have a business relationship with the Atlanta Beltline, so I just felt like this was going to be a really good fit. And last but not least, there's free parking.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
And I think everybody who lives in Atlanta can vouch for free parking
Absolutely.
because the parking is outrageous.
It's horrible.
Yeah, it's very horrible.
Yep.
So, with that being said, so far you say you haven't been operational. You want to tell us a little bit about that? Or what do you wish you knew before you started the business?
Whew. That'll take us a while, right?
Okay.
But some of the key points of things that I wish I knew. One, I wish I knew that how hard it really, really is to get funded.
Right.
I was like many other people, believed what I saw on Instagram.
Oh.
Right? So there's a lot of misinformation
Right.
that floats around Instagram. One being the misconception that as long as you're a Black woman in Atlanta, you can get funded because they're just giving out all this money to Black women in Atlanta. That is absolutely not the case.
I can vouch for that. That is a lie.
Yeah. So that's the first thing I wish I knew, that it's just not as easy as what the information that is being put out on social media is just not that easy. So that's the first thing. The second thing I wish I knew was how important it is to really, really have proper mentorship when it comes to starting a business. That is absolutely important and is critical, right? Because you can have a great idea, which I still wholeheartedly believe this is a great idea. However, I didn't have the necessary mentorship structure in place prior to me launching the business. I thought because I had a great location,
Right.
I thought because there was no other, there was no competition,
Right.
And I thought because I had free parking that
answered all the questions.
that was it, right? And so, naively, I assumed that when we opened the doors, because those things were in place,
Right.
I thought that people were gonna start running in here,
Right.
and that was
Not the case.
at all.
Okay.
Nope.
So, as a marketer, I would say, speaking on that point, what would be your key thing now that that has to happen in terms of marketing? That for us, I don't think we're taught that.
No.
We're taught everything else but that aspect, and I think that that's where our counterparts win over us.
Yeah.
Not just in funding areas because we are short on funding as a culture, but we also don't have all the fundamentals that we need. We just hear start a business if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be successful, if you want to work for yourself, if you want to do something for yourself.
Yep.
But they never tell us, and by the way, hey, remember that budget, you need more than just your product, you need more than just your space.
Yep.
You also need a marketing budget.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Absolutely. So when it comes to marketing, a lot of things that we're not taught. First of all, you have to understand who you're marketing to. You can't just assume
blindly
that whoever is going to come to your business, because that may not be the case, right? So you need to do market research. You need to know how to do market research. You need to understand who your avatar is and who you are speaking to, and the reasons why these people are going to come to your business and spend money with you and continue to spend money with you, right? Because you may have people that'll come because something is new, right? Because that's a different customer. You have customers that come because it's new. You have family and friends that come because you just opened and it's new, but that may or may not
those are not key customers.
Those are not your customers, and that is something that comes with training and educating. Secondly, you have to have a marketing budget. You have to have money to market. You got to have money, right?
Or you have to learn it yourself.
And it's different. So operating a brick and mortar business is very different than an online product-based business. This is a service-based business. Yes, we do have some products, but that is not the bulk of where the revenue is generating from. So you have to be able to have money. Google ads costs, Instagram ads costs, flyers costs. All of those things cost money. Banners, signage, yard signs, t-shirts. You know, you have
videography. We're recording right now.
Extremely expensive.
Shout out to all the videographers out there.
And that is very important. Having someone who's able to shoot and edit, all of that stuff costs money. These are not free things. So I can sit here and talk on and on and on and on and on about all of the things that I did wrong and that I didn't understand in the beginning. That is extremely important when you're operating a business. Yeah.
I think knowing what you did wrong is important in any aspect of any type of business, not just as a new business owner, but also as a seasoned business owner. I have a business I've been in for 9 years, and we've made lots and lots of mistakes, and you learn and then you make new mistakes. And so it's not really about the mistakes, it's about how you overcome them. So speaking of overcoming them, what are you overcoming right now? At least one point of something you're overcoming right now.
The fear of failing.
Okay.
Yeah. The fear of so I'm a perfectionist, right? And I strive to be perfect in a lot of different ways. And there's a real fear of feeling like you're going to fail. And a lot of times when you have a fear of feeling like you're gonna fail, you make a lot of mistakes. And so right now I'm overcoming and giving yourself, what is the word? Forgiving yourself for the mistakes that you made. That's something that I'm learning to deal with right now. Just having patience with myself and not putting so much pressure on myself. Like I put a tremendous amount of pressure on myself in the beginning of opening Drenched, and I feel like even still there are days when I still put a lot of pressure on myself. And so I'm trying to learn to have more patience and just understanding that I don't know everything, and that's okay.
I don't think you need to. I think you should give yourself some grace. We don't need to know everything.
That's the word I was looking for, grace.
Grace. It's important to give yourself grace, and it's important to know how to pivot from those mistakes, pivot into new seasons and into new lessons, and to just take the little nuggets and use them because they're important. I think when we don't give ourselves the grace, because we give everybody else around us grace, right? Absolutely. You've worked in corporate America before. You gave your boss grace. You showed up to work every day, even when it was imperfect. But why, as business owners, do we take that point away from ourselves? Why do we put so much on ourselves that we don't see ourselves in the same way that we see others?
That is a very good point.
Yeah.
And I have no idea. But that is something that I'm currently working through, is just allowing to give myself grace and forgiving myself for the mistakes that I know I made in the beginning of starting a business.
Well, did you have anybody to talk to? I feel like entrepreneurship is like a community. So how many of your like core support, like for me, I know most of my friends are corporate America. So I have that 1 or 2% that I can talk to who clearly understands what's going on in entrepreneurship, but most of my network are corporate based people. What about you?
So I I have a lot of personal friends who are entrepreneurs, and they're good in different aspects. So I can't say that I didn't have a community of people to pull from, because I did. For instance, a really good friend of mine, his name is Charles Sharper. I brought him here prior to me even signing the lease, right? And we walked the space together, and he was the person that was like, you know what, this is way too much space, for you to operate the studio. And because you have a wall that's splitting the space into, why don't you think about subleasing the right side of the space to save money, right?
Okay.
So that's something that would have never crossed my mind had it not been for me actually asking him to come and walk the space with me. And that's just one example.
Okay.
However, I think where I failed in the beginning is I was not fully transparent with my knowledge base in asking for help for the things that I knew I needed help with. I tried to take a lot of that on my own.
Okay.
And that's another mistake that I made.
Okay, so in this new phase of starting over, do you feel like you have all the core support, foundation, and everything that you need this go round to be as present and available for yourself and the business as you need to be?
I do, because now, I finally was able to get funding.
Okay.
Congratulations. Thank you. And that was not easy. So we're in month 10. Yeah. So it took me 9 months, right? Well, really longer than that, because I've technically been in the space it'll be a year in November. But I finally have funding, and not just bank funding, right? I actually was able to secure funding from a venture capital company that has people involved in it that have successfully sold and operated businesses similar to mine. So now I don't have the burden, and I don't want to say burden, but I don't have the weight of feeling like I have to be the person to know every single thing. You know what I mean? I have that support structure now where people are basically with me, making sure that everything is in place so that the company is successful.
And that's good to know for people out there. So do you have any suggestions on how you found that? Because how do you know where to go find a venture capital company that is in fitness?
Honestly, it was this situation here was God. I had threw the towel in. I had put in multiple applications, applications with banks, applications with a lot of investment groups, local investment groups that typically do fund Black-owned businesses here in Atlanta. And I got denied, and I got turned down by everybody. And I threw the towel in, and a friend of mine actually introduced me the same day that I said, I'm done.
That was it?
Literally the same day where I was like, I don't have any more money. Like, I have to throw in the towel. And I had accepted it. Was the same day that a person reached out just to simply say, how are you doing and how is Drench going? And had he not asked me, how is Drench doing, I would not have told him. I would not have volunteered the information, right? Because it's embarrassing.
Right.
And because he asked that question, it forced me to be honest and tell him what was up. And when I told him what was up, he immediately called me, and he was like, I can't believe this is happening. Let me think about who I have to know somebody. I know somebody. And he did know somebody. And the somebody that he knew just happened to be a spin enthusiast. Like,
wow.
Yeah. So he's part owner of the venture capital firm. And so that made the conversation way easier, because it was a conversation where I didn't have to explain the business model or sell the business model, right? Because this person, he was obsessed with it. It changed his life. So I didn't have to force it on him. So it was a lot easier for me to paint a picture.
Oh, well, that's great.
Yep.
So speaking of him being an enthusiast, why spin for you? Like, out of all the businesses you could start, how did you land on spin, why fitness, and why Drench?
Yep. So actually post-COVID, my youngest daughter left to go to college. So I had just, around the time, I had just bought my condo in Buckhead. And I found myself, like, I'm from Gwinnett, so all of my friends lived in Gwinnett. So I'm in Buckhead, really no friends. And a coworker of mine invited me to try spin. And of course, this is post-COVID, so I had gained COVID weight. And I knew I needed to lose weight or whatever. And I tried spin, and it was very hard. It was so hard. Good Lord, it was hard. But it was something about seeing the people in front of me. It motivated me, and I wanted to, like, I'm super competitive. So I saw all these people in front of me. I'm talking about the ages ranged from 18 all the way up to 65, but these people were in front of me and they were getting it, dancing, doing all this stuff. And I was just like, I want to be that person.
Right.
And so I kept going. And after 2 weeks, I had lost 6 pounds.
Really?
Literally, I lost 6 pounds.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah. And after another 2 weeks, I had lost 11 pounds.
Oh, so you was like, I'm hooked.
I was completely, so I was like, this is the first exercise that I've done where I felt like the weight melted off of me.
And you had to make no extra effort, just everything you needed happened in that room.
And the music, I love music and I love to dance. So those two things I love. I'm a music person and I love to dance. And I didn't feel like I was working out. I felt like I was partying. And the benefit of that was I was losing weight. And so I became obsessed.
Got it.
And it just kind of spawned from that. Like, it was something that I felt comfortable speaking to, and I don't feel like I'm selling spin to anybody. It's like, look, this is what worked for me. You know what I mean?
That's your testimony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's why.
Let's take one element from that. Let's pause on the business and let's go back to your personal, where you said that you're from Gwinnett, so you are ATL.
Yes.
Born and raised.
Yes, I'm originally from Atlanta.
And all of your friends were in Gwinnett. You left them, you came to Buckhead, and you literally had no friends.
Yeah.
So I don't know if y'all be paying attention to this baby's social media, but she's always out and about. So how did we get from no friends in Buckhead to now we're outside in Buckhead?
So let me rewind. So no friends, but I was engaged at the time. Oh. So I'm no longer engaged, but that's a whole nother story. But I was engaged at the time, and so I moved to Buckhead because the person, my ex, is
your ex-fiance.
Yeah, my ex-fiance he's been in Buckhead since he moved here for college. Okay. So he was already living in Buckhead. And so he was here, but he had his own thing going on, so he had to work and do all this stuff. But my friends were all they were in Gwinnett, and so for 2020, because I was in Buckhead in 2020, bought the condo in 2021. It was 2 years of me just being with him. Okay. And then spin got me out the house, got me involved in fitness, and I ended up getting hired on to do a project because I'm a certified project manager by trade. So I ended up being introduced to a gentleman who was opening up a gym in Midtown, actually. And that's what really got me involved into fitness on a business level. Okay. On a business level. And I'm a real social person. So, like, it's very easy for me to meet people. It's very easy for me to meet friends. So, yes, I am outside. I'm outside.
Well, I think that part alone is great because have you ever been down that Atlanta rabbit hole where they talk on TikTok about how hard it is, like, for women to find friends because they're coming from other places, and while your stint of travel was just a short little drive, but for the girl that's out there that's maybe from a new city, what are your recommendations for them who may not be into spin? What is one other thing that maybe you did that helped your social life out? Yeah, so Atlanta in general is a big fitness community. There's a lot of free fitness groups. Okay. In clubs here in Atlanta where you can actually, you don't have to spend any money, right? Of course, I want everybody to come and do spin. However, you can find a fitness club or a fitness community here in Atlanta because there's plenty of them. And that is how you network and that is how you meet people. And I encourage anybody to do that. There's one in particular, Heels for ATL, which is extremely popular. And I think maybe about 400 people every week attends. For real? Yeah, attends that, and those workouts are free.
There's another one called Run Brunch Club. There's plenty of them that you can get involved in to meet people, and that's a really great way to meet people, and it's also a good way to get in shape. So that would be my number one recommendation.
So a 2-for-1, like you help yourself out, and you find you some like-minded friends.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Or you can just come and take a class at Drench.
Y'all absolutely got to stop by Drench though. You absolutely got to do that. Yes. So do you want to tell them a little bit about your classes or your prices or anything that they can look forward to knowing when that door reopens and you let everybody back into the fold?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be 2 questions. Now she hitting me with
the good stuff.
Shit.
With the good stuff.
We still talking.
we can't have a shameless plug without giving the people a little something.
Okay, so so Drenched is a rhythm ride studio, and basically what that means is the music moves you.
Okay.
So we don't use the metrics here.
Okay.
So we're not going by RPMs and BPMs like some of the other studios do. It's very rhythm based. So we do a lot of choreography here. But it is essentially a party on the bike. And we are planning to relaunch and open the doors the second week of November, actually, and we have upgraded due to funding. So we have probably, I'm actually going to go on a limb and say we have the best spin bikes out of all the other studios
in the city
currently.
Okay.
I feel very positive with saying that. And we've done some really good, cool modifications to give the studio a facelift to give it more of a luxury feel and things like that. So the prices will, reflect some of the upgrades, of course, naturally. But we're still very, very competitive, and we still do offer the first ride free. And we are going to have some really good promotions going on for the month of November.
And the parking's still free, y'all.
And the parking is still free. And we have 64 spaces available, so it's plenty of parking at Drenched.
Yeah. So that's good. So let's cheers to that. And cheers to Drench opening. And actually where we are now is next door to Drench, which is Pixel Perfect Studios.
Yes.
So you can come over here. You can get your graphics done. You can get your videography done.
Websites.
You can do your websites, photo shoots. And for all business owners out there, if you too want to come tell your story at our small talk, business talk, chat time, tea time, and all of those things, you can stop by over here. You can come and do that.
Yep. Full content creation. So Pixel Perfect has done all of Drench's branding. They do all of Drench's content creation, and Terrell and Maurice, they're just amazing. So they do it all.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.